Right, welcome back to Grumpy Outdoors. Number one YouTube channel as voted by my mum. I'll be honest, I don't know where we are. I don't know what we're doing. So I will pass it over.
Thank you, Chris. I probably should have told you the route before we set off, but I can explain it for everyone else watching the video now. As the title of this video suggests, this walk will follow the River Roach from its origins to more or less where it ends as it joins the River Crouch. Now, the River Roach has three main tributaries. The first is a few hundred metres from where we started this walk on Bull Lane in Rayleigh. The second is in Hockley Woods, as it originally would have flowed from north to south through Rochford. And the third is the Prittle Brook, which feeds into it, the tidal basin at Stanbridge. Now, our walk will see us head up to Hockley Woods, then back down to Cherry Orchard Park, then across to Rochford, along Paglesham by the seawall, and then up to Wallasey Island to catch a ferry across to Burnham. It may not look it, but doing it like this means you can actually have a fairly good access to public transport and return to your car by the train. Now, before I say anything else, I must apologise on behalf of Chris for not once cleaning his lens throughout this video. Anyway, not long after beginning this walk, and after you set off from Bull Lane, you will pass the first point of interest. Well, sort of interesting anyway. Through the bushes you'll be able to make out Bulwood Hall. Originally built as a large manor house in the 1880s, it was sold along with the grounds to the prison service in 1962 and housed female inmates until its closure in 2013. In the last few decades the house became derelict, but a building contractor has been building homes on the site, which have just started opening and being sold, and I would assume the manor house will be done up as luxury flats quite shortly. Now, this first section of path takes you into a back entrance to Hockley Woods. Hockley Woods is a special place in that it is one of the last pieces of ancient woodland that still exists in Essex. It makes it all the more sad, however, when you realise just how small it is. It has designation as a site of scientific interest because of the various bugs and plants that inhabit the place, and it is also the source of one of the tributaries of the River Roach, which is why we're here.
Here would be the stream if it hadn't been fucking hot for the last week or so. But as you can see here, there is clearly a defined mark where the water should be.
Leaving Hockley Woods, this route takes us down Hollyoak Lane and then back up Mount Bovers Lane to a footpath that takes us across to Gusted Hall Lane.
Poor little sheeps. It's a bit too hot to be wearing a big jumper like that, mate.
Take your jumper off.
See, if you're not sure whether it's a parking space like this, it's not a parking space.
That is epic parking. Gusted Hall Lane leads to Gusted Hall Woods. Who'd have thought? But beware if you're looking at this on OS maps, because it also comes up as the Scrubs. Cutting through this wood takes you to Cherry Orchard Country Park, which is where you can meet up with the River Roach once again. couldn't believe how dry everything was. Even this magpie was struggling and panting in the heat, and all the vegetation was just burnt to a crisp. Couldn't get any drier if you tried. One bit of good news was that Cherry Orchard has been enrolled into a scheme called the Queen's Green Canopy for the Platinum Jubilee. I've often wondered why they didn't plant trees here, so it's a welcome sight. Hopefully, if it's expanded over the years, it may eventually link up with Hockley Woods and make a larger woodland that the endangered species can migrate into.
So here we have Essex's version of Stonehenge. It is as if you had brought Stonehenge off of a dodgy Chinese website such as wish.com. It's very nice.
Right, because this is just an outdoors video, it's not some weird sort of survival thing or anything like that, where we're dressed up like Action Man. And because we're very honest, we're about to get to a Costa, and I've actually not eaten anything today, and I'm quite thirsty for a latte.
I want one of those frappuccinos. Soy ones. Oh yeah.
A bit of useless information, but the Costa Coffee here is actually part of a new retail and industrial park that until fairly recently was a derelict brickwork factory. I used to play in here quite a bit when I was a boy. Unfortunately, this has had an effect on the footpaths around here. We would have walked through Rochford Golf Course for a path that used to take you past the Southend Airport, but we found that the old path was actually now blocked off by horses, so we had to turn around and walk along the main roads. Walking along Hall Lane towards Rochford takes you past a new housing estate that trashed the Greenbelt. Although our route no longer went through the golf course, I thought it best to nip through briefly to talk about the house here. It was once owned by the Boleyn family, although it's unlikely that Anne of Henry VIII fame ever lived here. But more recently, the building was used as an officers' mess during World War I and World War II by the RAF and the RFC. Speaking of the RFC, one of the men buried across the track here at St Andrew's Church is Captain Henry Stroud, who, after being scrambled from Rochford to intercept giant bombers heading for London, collided with another aircraft piloted by Captain Alexander Kinnock, and they both fell in Wickford by a Dolleman's farm. At this point, we'd finally arrived in Rochford. I think we were both relieved to get here because, well, we were gasping to buy some water from the local shop, to be totally honest. Now, at this point, in an ideal world, I'd go into massive detail about the history of this old market town, but I don't think people want to be bored that much. So, if people are interested, maybe I'll do sort of tour type videos in the future, if people are interested, obviously.
Chris is sporting the two-tone t-shirt. These are available on our website for £35 each.
Jay is also sporting the two-tone t-shirt, but in green.
After a quick refreshment, we cut through Rochford Reservoir before crossing over and setting off along a path that would take us to the tidal section of the River Roach past Stanbridge.
What the fuck is this? This is new.
These buildings are all that remains of Stanbridge Mills. The original mill here was a tide mill constructed in 1824 and was operational until 1951. The buildings were then burned down in 1964. The mill was then modernised and continued to operate under Allied Mills, at least through the 1990s until it shut down sometime in the noughties. Some gobshites then torched the place, and now all that's left of this building is these grain hoppers. It's a bit of a shame because with all that's going on in the world these days, it probably wouldn't hurt to have more mills and grain processing sites, but there we go. But it's more unlikely that the council will approve this brownfield site for more house building, which seems inevitable.
I think it's great that we're getting some proper recognition. Now, this portrait of Chris here is absolutely fantastic.
Carrying on, we used a path that took us past Rankin's Cricket Club on a very brown looking pitch, and finally took us down to the seawall.
So hot, man. It's beyond hot. Why did we choose to come out on a day like today? It's for your entertainment, really. It's for everything's just for your entertainment.
It's all for you.
So don't forget to like and subscribe.
Do I not entertain?
Now, without a doubt, the biggest bastard in this walk is this section around Barton Hall Creek, where you're forced to walk in the opposite direction for 20 minutes, which is usually fine, just, not when it's 30 degrees. The plus side, however, is that you're soon back on a decent track all the way to Paglesham.
Right, so today, because it's really hot, the video is not sponsored by our normal sponsor.
Yeah, today we do not have Monster affiliation. Today we've got Foster's, although to be more precise, Foster's Shandy. So, as they say,
Bon appetit.
yummy. Proper chips, mate. Proper.
Right, so we're just leaving the plough and sail. We had a couple of pints and some chips, especially for us because they didn't actually have chips on the menu. And Jay said, "No, mate."
No, mate.
Because we're in Essex and we say mate instead of full stops.
I don't want any of your posh tidbits. Just give me some fried potato.
Yeah.
They did it.
And now we're going to carry on. But to be honest, I still don't actually know where we're going.
It's fine, it's all in hand.
What I can tell you is we've got tents. So we're camping out.
Yeah, boy.
So, a bit of an update. At this point, we didn't have too far to go. Well, as the crow flies at least. If I'm honest though, I did underestimate how long it would take to clear this last leg, and having a few pints had put us behind schedule by quite a bit. So, we were having to shift it a little bit as the night started to close in. Now this section of the seawall in Pagelsham is allegedly the last resting place of HMS Beagle, the ship that had taken Charles Darwin on his expeditions. By all accounts, the ship spent its last years with customs as they tried in vain to eliminate smuggling in the area, which was quite pronounced.
Right, so we think just round this corner we're going to find a place we can camp. We did spot a bit further back a couple of options, but they weren't great. And we're really starting to lose light.
I appreciate the cameras aren't really picking this up very well, which is probably a good thing because these tents look really sorry for themselves. Yours ain't too bad, mine's fucking atrocious. Can't get the pegs in the ground.
Right, so we've set up a pretty dodgy camp, and but the ground's like baked hard, so now we're just going to get a cup of tea on the go. And then after that, some chili con carne. For me, I don't think Jay's eating dinner tonight.
No, chips done.
He's gone vegan. Right now for the piece de la resistance, the chili. It's nothing special, just chili con carne by Sainsbury's. So it tastes the same as Aldi's but costs 3 times as much. Right, that's just that's warmed up nicely. I'm just going to chuck the rice in it, mix it up and eat it. I don't think you really want to see that, do you? No. Right, so it's 10:30 and we're going to bed because we're like actual wild camping, so we've got to be out early before dog walkers show up. I actually forgot how tiny these OEX tents are. They are brilliant, but they're tiny.
That's what she said.
That's what she said indeed, Jay.
Hey?
That is what she said. But she didn't say it was brilliant. So, I'll see you in the morning.
How did you sleep, Chris?
Well, it wasn't great.
No, it took me about 4 hours to get to sleep. I think I only slept for the last 2.
Yeah. I was just very tired, so that sort of helped. We're all packed away. Now we're just going to go catch a boat. So that little triangle bit, that's where we was. Apart from some crushed grass, you'd never know we were there.
After packing away our gear, we didn't actually have much walking left to do. We only have to get to the marina, and the ferry only operates after 9 AM, so we had hours to kill. We spent most of that time on some mown grass, just snoozing for an hour or so, just watching the sun creep up, which was oddly rejuvenating. Near the marina is the old Creek Sea Ferry Inn, yet another pub that's shut down over the last decade. It's tragic really, the amount of pubs that we're losing. We arrived at the marina hoping that the cafe there might be open early for teas and coffees, but sadly it wasn't. We waited about half an hour or so and then called the ferry over to come and collect us.
Right, the little boat's just coming in. That's going to take us over to Burnham, where there is a Tesco's, which, if there's Tesco's, it means there's monsters.
Once over the other side, it's a simple case of a short walk to the train station. Not before stopping off for some essential supplies though.
How's your breakfast?
Standard. Right, how's this for weird? I used to eat Great Wrangler for 10 years, every day of my life, and now I don't, and I've just got on a train, and it's the nicest train I've ever been on. It's got air conditioning and everything. When I used to get on the trains, it was just like sweat. The train actually permanently smelled of armpit. I mean, what's going on here?
From Burnham, you can go back to Rayleigh, where this video began, by changing over at Wickford. But all in all, this was quite an enjoyable walk and a one-nighter. We'd definitely recommend it. As per usual, if you've hated this video, then firstly, why are you still watching? And secondly, don't forget to dislike, unsubscribe and give me abuse in the comments section. Thank you for watching, and maybe you'll see us in the next video. Bye for now.